last but not the least, I'm going to introduce the reason why we're all here, the man of the moment. But I really don't know what to say because I had a compressed CV of Harry, but the Prime Minister, Minister of Tourism, and now Angela has said everything I had written down about him. So I'm going to go a bit off script. As someone who's observed his campaign up close over the last 6 months, Harry is not running for the prestige of the UN Secretary General post. He's running because he believes this system is drifting and he is not afraid to confront it. They say the best way to truly know a person is to travel with them, to not watch what they say, but see how they move through the world. Over the last 10 days, he's walked the streets of Accra, Kigali, Lagos, Windhoek, Joburg, 9 countries in 7 days. He flew economy across Africa, back-to-back flights with no sleep, no entourage. He slummed it without complaint. He sat at community tables, shared unfiltered conversations with local entrepreneurs and ministers, not for a photo op, but because he wanted to listen, to hear, and really understand. He wasn't there for the optics. He was there for the truth and for the future. He doesn't know this, but I was watching him, judging him, testing him, not out of doubt, but because I just needed to be really sure. And here is what I saw. What I saw wasn't the politician or the campaigner. I saw a man who very enthusiastically and instinctively lifted and rearranged bags for an entire cabin, not for show, not for gratitude, because it just needed to be done and someone had to do it. I saw a man who reassigned seats in the airplane, mediating between strangers, finding comfort for a mother and her little child before settling on his own. I saw a man who tasted everything, not for social media, but out of sheer respect for culture, tradition, and pure curiosity. I also saw a man who moved and danced to local music. Just ask the Minister of Tourism of Ghana. Again, not because it's because not for a show, it was not staged, it's because something inside him connected with the rhythm. He always asked for the local beer or local wine. Am I allowed to say this? The local dish, the local history. He spoke less, he listened more. And when things got really chaotic, and oh boy, they did. I remember at one instance, I totally lost it. He was smiling and he said, "Why are you getting stressed? Didn't your country invent Om?" I'm Indian. This is a man I want you to see today. The man I want Africa to see and understand. The man people should see. Not through a lens of politics, but through a lens of presence. A man who, while rushing to meetings and boarding flights, still remembered to buy something for his daughter. A man who's a dutiful husband, a loving father, who carries both titles, not with entitlement, but devotion. And somehow, in this world of scripted alliances and transactional diplomacy, this man has bishops across different countries praying for him. He has business magnates campaigning for him. And most incredibly, he has people from the private sector who have put their careers on hold to walk beside him. Not because they were told to, not because they had to, because they believe in him. Ladies and gentlemen, Harry Theoharis has done what many only talk about. But his campaign is not about legacy. It's about reform. Harry is the only candidate with a vision anchored in action. Transparency in budgeting because trust is earned. Accountability in delivery because performance matters. Decentralization of power because tourism isn't one size fits all. Empowerment of regions because real leadership listens, not lecture. This is clearly not politics as usual, and he's not usual, and it shows because people are rallying behind him. From the Middle East to the Caribbean to Asia to Africa, not because he's chasing the title, because he's chasing the mission. He's a strategist, he's a reformer, and let's be clear, he is a bit of a disruptor. Please put your hands together for Harry Theoharis, candidate for the Secretary General of UN Tourism.
It's very difficult not to blush when Aradhana is speaking. Thank you. Thank you, Aradhana, for your kind words. Really, you are the master of words. Well, honorable colleagues, Your Excellencies, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, what an extraordinary privilege it is to gather here in my homeland, Greece, for this global summit on the future of tourism investment in Africa. There could be no more fitting place, not just because of its beauty, of course. Greece is not only where civilization found its voice, it is where humanity first learned to explore not just the world, but also ideas. It is the birthplace of democracy, philosophy, and cultural exchange. A land where travelers once came here not for leisure, but in search of wisdom, dialogue, and transformation. And it is in that same spirit that we gather here today. Not simply to talk about tourism in Africa, but to shape a bold new future for it. A future that's inclusive, resilient, sustainable, and profitable. For this vision to become a reality, we need more than plans and summits. We need a new kind of leadership. Leaders who understand that transformation begins not with power, but with service. Leaders who have walked alongside communities, listened before they led, and earned trust before asking for it. As Aristotle wisely said, he who cannot be a good follower will never be a good leader. In global tourism, we don't need more figureheads. We need leaders who have listened before they led, who have served before they commanded, leaders who understand that shaping the future requires humility, not hubris. That is why last month I came to your countries, and we tasted your beautiful beer as well. I came to your countries not with a manifesto, but with open ears and ideas to share. Ideas as points of departure and points of discussion. To listen, to learn, and to better understand the needs and aspirations of the African tourism sector, and each country in particular. I had the privilege to talk with ministers and business leaders in 8 African countries. As I stand before you today as a candidate for Secretary General of UN Tourism, I don't feel entitled. I feel obliged to serve, obliged to connect values with action, obliged to help build a tourism sector that is worthy of the people and places it touches. And that begins by understanding what tourism is truly about. And to answer this question, allow me to tell you a story from our tradition. It is the story of Xenia, the sacred Hellenic tradition of hospitality. In ancient times, it was believed that a stranger at your door could be a wanderer, a teacher, an ally, or even a god in disguise. So you welcomed them with food, shelter, and dignity, not out of convenience, but out of principle. You offered your best, never your leftovers. To the Greeks, hospitality was never transactional. It was transformational. An act of mutual recognition, a moment in which, across all differences of origin, languages, or status, we saw each other as human and as such, as sacred. So sacred, in fact, that this tradition was protected by none other the leader of the gods, Zeus, Xenios, the god of strangers and travelers. Thousands of years later, Xenia still lives. It is woven into every village, every welcome, every open door across this land. Today, Zeus Xenios may be gone, but his wisdom endures. And we, as a global industry, are beginning to understand what the Greeks knew all along, that offering your best hospitality, generously, respectfully, is not only the right thing to do, it is the strongest foundation for long-term success. And now, as we turn our attention to Africa, a continent of unmatched diversity, culture, resilience, and potential, I'm not just imagining the future of travel. I'm imagining a new value-driven tourism story. A modern Xenia, built on mutual respect, local empowerment, and shared prosperity. And it is no coincidence that this conversation is taking place here in Greece, a country that has both endured and evolved. We have faced economic collapse. We've weathered crisis, and yet we found a way to turn heritage into opportunity, to protect culture, while inviting the world in to share that culture, and to build a tourism economy rooted not in exploitation, but in purpose. My journey from rebuilding tourism in Greece during COVID to reimagining its role on a global stage has taught me this. Tourism, when done right, it's not just an industry, it's a force for equity, a force for peace, a force for transformation. I trust that this summit is the beginning of a bold and fruitful chapter for Africa's tourism sector and global tourism as a whole. So thank you, all of you, for putting your trust in me. Thank you.